What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dissect That Film. We dissect your favorite films, film franchises, and TV. Today on episode 60 of the podcast, we are talking about one of the greatest sequels ever. The 1991 action blockbuster, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me as always, the wonderful Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming.
Hello.
Oh, this fucking movie. Oh, man, I did it again. I said the F word in the first minute of the video.
No.
That's why our YouTube is...
We ain't making no money on YouTube.
No, it's okay. Whatever. I don't care. Terminator 2, Judgment Day, or T2 as everyone loves to call it, including myself. Oh, man. Oh, man. To be honest, I want to be brutally honest here. The theme in the original Terminator is better than the theme in this one.
Okay.
I think I don't know. I just love the simplistic, the dun 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 dun, and then the dun, dun, dun. I feel like we didn't get enough of it in this one.
Not with all the extra shit they added to it.
Yeah, it's my only gripe. But I understand why they do it, because they're like, oh, we can do more with this.
Oh, I do have to say something though. This I can say this movie has another, I think, good audio track in it, surprisingly. And not just when they're fucking and the anyway, no, I'll stop.
Yes.
The T-1000's theme.
Yes.
That
very good. Yeah.
Like that really cool. I like that. It's neat. You probably couldn't hear that on the picked up, but
it fits with the way he is, which is great.
Yes. Yeah.
So Terminator 2 came out July 3rd, 1991, 2 months before yours truly was brought onto this earth.
Yeah. That's definitely, yeah.
Yep. It budgeted at between $94 to $102 million, and it grossed $520.9 million.
That's a lot of money to be
one of the highest grossing, not just the highest grossing film of 1991, but one of the highest grossing films of all time up to that point. Actually, I think it held the record for the highest grossing action film, R-rated action film, I think up until Deadpool? Could be wrong. Didn't really look into it. So
yeah, it sounds about right.
It sounds close enough. It ran.
No. Okay. I know what it is. You mentioned Deadpool, and it made me think, because I was listening to Dead Meat. It was Passion of the Christ.
No.
Then it was.
I hit my mic. I hit my mic in frustration because.
Okay. Yes, I know, but I only know that because I listened to the episode and they said that was the highest grossing until. Yeah.
Jesus.
Listen, I'm gonna say this: Jim Caviezel, Highwaymen. That's the movie.
Fuck, talk about Terminator 2. Let's talk about Passion of the Christ and Jim Caviezel. No.
Anyway, carry on.
Oh my god, this made a lot of fucking money. Way more like this. I mean, between the budget and how much money it made at the box office, it blew the original away. But it also came out 7 years after the first Terminator, which is a pretty good chunk of time between, a first and second film.
Yeah.
And this is where it should have ended. This is where it fucking ended. This is where you stop. But no, we had to get 4 more movies.
That's what they say. My experience. I don't know. Almost nothing after movies past this. Like almost nothing.
Oh well, you're in for a wild ride when we in a couple weeks when we get to Terminator 3. So this was directed again by James Cameron, who had just gotten off of directing The Abyss right before this, and this is where the effects for the T-1000 actually came from. So the effects he used in The Abyss was very similar to the effects used for the T-1000, because he's made out of liquid. And that was his determination to go, okay, we're good enough to do this in the new Terminator, because the T-1000 storyline was actually supposed to be in the first Terminator. So whole thing was that the T-800, the original T-800 from Terminator 1, dies, and Skynet goes, oh, well, he failed. Let's send in this experimental Terminator, because that's what the T-1000 always was. It wasn't a fully uh, experimented on, like it wasn't really 100% ready.
It's just a
Skynet kind of just
prototype.
was like, yeah, he was a prototype. They weren't sure how it was all gonna go, and that was how it was. And James Cameron had ideas about shooting it in like weird lighting, so you don't really see the really clunkiness of what the T-1000 was going to be. But then he just scrapped it. But you can see it on special features for the original Terminator. But
I'll have to
once
look
he
that
did the
up.
Abyss, that was what made him go, well, let's do Terminator 2. We got this.
Hey, we got this guy. He needs to be liquid metal. But I did a movie with liquid. Water's like liquid. I could make this work.
You were
No,
shaking your head because you thought the Abyss was bad. I've heard good things about
I
the
am
Abyss.
not a fan of The Abyss in my experience. I remember that movie because my mom was obsessed with that fucking movie when it came out. I remember the prick that was on it. I remember,
Oh,
oh god, who was
Ed
the
Harris?
Ed Harris was awesome. Not Ed.
Oh, I
The
love Ed
dude
Harris.
the dumb fuck that was with them. That was like
Oh, man. I'm trying to
clearly the
remember. I think it was
villain.
like Mary Stenbergen or something like that was in that. I can't remember who else was in
It's when the first alien liquid snake comes through and he's the dude that shuts the door on it and shit all falls down. Then it looks at him and slinks back in the water. I remember these scenes of this movie. I just don't give a fuck about it. And then they did like the special director's cut that was like 20 hours long. And yeah, don't give a shit.
So the whole plot line of destroying Cyberdyne, the whole offices, was actually another thing that they were supposed to do in Terminator 1, but they decided to not do it. And pretty much James Cameron was like, well, thank God we didn't do it, because we wouldn't have had Terminator 2. Because that was literally the entire basis of this movie, was the whole them getting the Cyberdyne, destroying it, which then would kind of cancel, Skynet actually forming and everything happening. But guess what? We got Terminator 3 that just literally takes all that and goes, fuck it.
That's what I hear. I've seen some clips of that movie.
God.
But
I'm so glad we're talking about a different movie before we get to Terminator 3. But
hey,
we'll talk
you've
about
got
that.
a lot. She's got a lot to say about this movie.
Some things.
She has a lot.
So again, this was written by James Cameron as well, which is not surprising, because if he's directing it, most likely he's writing it. This starred, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's back as the T-800, but not the same one. Don't get confused. Not the same one. That one died. But he does. But the first one does make an appearance.
Yes, it does.
That's all I'll say. Linda Hamilton is back as Sarah Connor, because she is Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
And then Robert Patrick, the man who pretty much stole the show in this movie as the T-1000. This was like, when it came to Robert Patrick, he was kind of an unknown in Hollywood. He actually was discovered and actually got cat. Everybody upstairs needs to shut up.
He's from Marietta.
Stop bad mouthing the man upstairs.
Everybody's so loud up there. Stop it. I'm here banging and everything.
I'm just kidding.
So he actually was in Die Hard 2. And that's what, and James Cameron saw that, caught his attention.
Oh, yeah,
and that's what got him to cast Robert Patrick. Because originally, Michael Biehn was eyed to play the T-1000 as kind of like a, Sarah seeing the T-1000 as Kyle Reese or whatever, and she gets the weird thing. But they decided not to do it because it was going to be too confusing for the audience.
Yeah, with the whole psychological trauma thing.
I thought it would have been a really cool idea, but I really Robert Patrick is fucking awesome as the T-1000. So menacing. And the way that he is not fully robotic, he's not a robot. He's still able to, when he's talking to people, he can persuade, he can make it out like he's an actual, he's human, which is really cool. And Edward Furlong, who, to be honest, is my least favorite part of this movie. As John Connor. This was actually his first film. And we'll talk more about him as we go along, but I've never been a fan of Edward Furlong. I don't think he's ever really been a great actor. Really not been just a fan of anything he's been in. He's been in some really good movies, just not characters I really cared for. But we had him, and he was here. All right, let's go around, talk about this movie, what we thought about it. Maybe if you talk about the first time you ever saw the movie, because this is a almost 31-year-old movie. Let's talk about it. Terminator 2, Judgment.
Yeah, I'm
Who's
looking
going?
something up about the movie, so you
All
guys
right.
talk.
Angela, start us off.
Okay. For the most part, I really enjoyed it. I still like the first one better. There was parts of it that I could have done without. I think they went, I guess, too long with it. It was drawn out.
Okay.
Can't say it because it's part of the plot. But later on in the movie, there's a gunfight, and I think it could have just been shortened. Like anything past that, I was just kind of like, meh. Kind of
Okay.
made me lose interest in the movie, but up until then, I really enjoyed the movie.
To be honest, I don't hear a lot of people say that they like the original more than this, but I get it, because to be honest, the original and this are two different types of movies.
They
This
are
is very
really
much
different.
an action movie, where the Terminator is more of a psychological thriller that also has some action elements to it. So I completely agree. Like I don't have the same views, but I totally understand that people who have that view of liking the original more than this one.
But I don't think I've ever fully seen this one before. Like I've seen clips, uh, like bits and pieces of it. I do vaguely remember, so I think I had to have partially watched it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I could have done without the last 30 minutes, I guess. I don't know. Go ahead.
No,
She's
you're good. You're good.
She's got to do like a light tap on your leg or something.
No, you're good. I'm not gonna, because normally for that train of thought is I still think Alien. I like Alien more than Aliens.
Oh, I'm with you on that.
But I like Terminator 2 more than the original one as a total experience. I think it's obviously a better film.
Right.
But the original Terminator I think is good because it just feels so much more concise and directed.
Well, you got
Where
to think
this
it's low
this
budget. It's the way
Yeah.
that it was filmed and the way that he did. I just appreciate the first one more because of that.
No, exactly. And I think my only qualm is about what she said is the whole like first 2/3 of the movie it all makes sense. It's like boom, 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 like progressive, a series of events, and then the stuff with Cyberdyne gets brought up, and they're like, let's go there. And I just feel like that scene, like what happened, there's some stuff in that scene, like some of the action bits, I think are really good. And I think there's some good acting and stuff, but I thought it could have been just streamlined a little bit, that scene. I think there's some thought where they're just like they're explaining things that it's important, I feel, but they could have just streamlined it more because I felt it dragged in that, because it's like
Right.
I know everything that happens leading up to this. I forgot about the Cyberdyne stuff, and then the main set piece at the end of the movie. Like there's like that chunk. I completely forgot all of that because it's like this, like the beginning, and then the very, very end is all I remember. So like just growing up, but like just that bit with Cyberdyne, I felt probably could have been streamlined just a little bit. I don't take it out. I mean, just streamline it. But other than that, I love the effects. I love how actually making him liquid metal I thought was a brilliant idea because you didn't need the detail from this special effects. I think they look great. Like, I mean, obviously you could tell like they worked within what they had for the time. There's a few bits of practical effects I didn't care for. Like I think they had a few like dummy Schwarzenegger heads again. It looked a lot better than the first one. Still didn't look great. The gunplay was great. The driving was cool. What was the thing I said? Oh, that makes a lot more sense than shooting the gas tank. Oh, the truck when it exploded.
Oh.
Because we could have had a scene like, let's shoot a gas tank with a projectile, which does not make cars explode, by the way.
Oh, the alleyway scene?
Where the truck, the actual battery cable arced against the side of the vehicle, and that caused the fuel. Now it's like,
you talking
that's
about
smart.
the truck, the T-1000 was driving in the
yes
river?
Yeah, the Aqueduct River, what the fuck it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like that. Other than that, I like the flow. I mean, I thought Schwarzenegger obviously did better in this movie because I mean, he had a few years on him and stuff, and all the characters were good. I like Linda Hamilton was great. It is good. It's good. I really like the movie.
In this
Dude,
movie.
he is.
No,
He's
no, no.
very well.
No.
Yeah.
Linda Hamilton is
Yeah.
ripped.
Oh
in
yeah,
this
dude.
movie.
She'll fuck you up.
Damn.
She's good.
Victor brought that up. He's like,
God damn, she's jacked. I was like, yeah.
Yeah,
Fighting off guards every day just to get
still
sedated.
looking
That'll
great.
keep you
Still
jacked.
looking great, Linda Hamilton.
Oh yeah, but no, great movie. I recommend. Obviously, go watch.
definitely recommend you watch it.
This is, I think as a kid, I mean, I first saw this movie as a kid, and I was blown away because, of course, I remember as a kid watching the original Terminator, and I really liked it. It was kind of scary when I was a kid, just the way the Terminator acted, and like I said, it's the original is more of a psychological thriller, and you don't know where he's gonna be type deal. Where this is an action packed movie from beginning to end. It's action with a couple. Yeah, you got your the Cyberdyne stuff like you were saying.
But even that's got some really good action in it,
right?
But just toward the end of it, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I just remember after seeing the original Terminator, and then I think immediately we might have even rented both Terminator and Terminator 2 in the same weekend, and I watched them both. And I just remember what a difference it was, and being just completely amazed by the T-1000 and the fact that, oh, Arnold's the good guy now. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool.
Yeah, because they don't give you that. Like I love that build up. It's like just like the first movie.
So good.
Two people come through, you don't know who's the good guy.
And, and even after you know that he's the good guy, and then like when Sarah first sees him and she gets all that PTSD going on, she's like, oh no, not again.
No kidding.
But then he puts his hand down and says the line, come with me.
Not while they're having sex.
No, well, I don't think he said that either. But
no, that was just in my head canon. I'm sorry.
Oh God. Oh boy. But yeah, I watched it yesterday or a couple days ago, and I still blown away by the effects and what they were able to do.
Oh yeah.
I got my issues with it, but overall, this is a great fucking movie.
Like I said, the only set pieces, dude.
Oh yeah. I mean, the fact that they literally shot in LA, the scene, the chase scene in the Aqueduct River or whatever the hell you call it, because LA is weird.
Yeah,
that is actually a place like that. It was in LA in that actual area, because I actually watched the video Paramount did where it was some host was walking around with Robert Patrick, and they were going to a bunch of shooting locations from Terminator 2, like the house that John lived in with the foster parents was a real house. It wasn't a set. It was a real house. That whole chase scene was all done in real, like on a real location. It wasn't on a set. So it was really cool that they were able to do that.
Yeah.
And the effects definitely looked better. I mean, yeah, the T-1000 doesn't look great to today's standards, but in 1991, that was mind-blowing, especially, we're still 2 years out from Jurassic Park when special effects became like, holy shit, we made dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Like that was like the T-1000 was the cool thing up until the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park. So, I mean, it's still mind blowing today to see what they were able to do 30 plus years ago. But I love this movie. And like I said before, they should have stopped here.
Did you have any toys from this movie?
I might have had the T-800, the Arnold figure on the bike.
Yeah.
I don't have, I unfortunately don't have a lot of toys that I had as a kid, which is very unfortunate because I had a lot of really cool Jurassic Park toys and Lost World toys, because those were like my two favorite movies at the time. Jaws toys didn't exist in the 90s because it was 20 years. So
yeah, the closest we got was that damn shark game. What was it? There's that little. It's like a board game by Mattel. There's like the shark that chases the other little fish around the board. I can't think of that fucking name, that game now.
But now we have a Jaws board game, everybody.
Hell yeah. Well, what I was gonna say is I actually remember I probably had a T800 figure back in the day because I would have been, this is 91,
Yeah.
so I would have been about like 5, 6-ish. But I know they sold the toys for a little while, especially when it came out on VHS. There was another big push for it, and I remember having a T1000, but it was the one where his hook arms where he chased after the car.
Oh yeah,
I had one
I
of those.
remember seeing those, but like so, when I would, I think Terminator 3 came out when I was 12, so I probably had a T800 from Terminator 3, not from Terminator 2, because Terminator 2 came out before I was born. So by the time I was actually getting toys like that, this was getting closer to the 2000s. So I was more getting Jurassic Park toys. Like I remember, I mean, I won't go into all of the Jurassic Park toys I had, but that was what I was doing. It was Jurassic Park, and I was huge into the Crocodile Hunter, so I had a bunch of crocodile stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, Terminator 3, I think, is when I started getting a couple of the toys. But the Terminator from Terminator 3 is kind of similar to the Terminator 2 T800, so it wasn't that big.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
So yeah. Do we have anything else we want to talk about before we get into this plot?
I do.
All right.
I think I said this on the show. We covered it. If not, I'm just going to let you know right now. I called it that it's not related, but it's a franchise from this era. Top Gun Maverick, over $1 billion. I fucking called that shit.
It deserves it. It's a fucking
I
movie.
did.
So
I think
good.
we covered it. I was like, it's going to hit $1 billion, and it did. So fuck yeah. Anyway, carry on. That's it. That's all I had.
Good job, Top Gun Maverick.
Yes.
Terminator 2. Judgment Day. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. God damn. It's to be honest, the Terminator theme is one of the greatest themes of all time. It's not even greatest themes of a decade. It's one of the greatest themes of all time. Like it's up there for me with Jurassic Park, Jaws, Star Wars, other things that are really good. Terminator, it's so simplistic, but it's so damn good. So good.
I concur. I can't argue with that.
Good on Brad Friedel, who came back to do the theme and the score for this one as well. He did slightly better with everything else, because I praised him last week on his theme, but the rest of the movie sounded like a video game, which was kind of weird. This was a little bit better with everything else other than the theme, even though I didn't like the theme in this one as much.
It wasn't even a good video game. Because
no, it wasn't. It was weird. It was weird as hell. There is a bug flying around, but you probably see that.
I know. I'm trying to fucking get it, but
oh boy,
over there.
All right, LA traffic can be a bitch. It's literally the first shot, and it's probably James Cameron just hanging out in the back of a car, just taking video of LA traffic. Or he went to a news station, was like, "Can I have some of your footage of just LA traffic?" And they're like, "Sure, James Cameron."
Don't need no permits for this. Just driving around filming people.
Oh man, and it shows these kids swinging on a swing.
Oh yeah.
And one of the kids was swinging so high, I was like, "Damn, this is like me. I did that shit when I was a kid."
Yeah,
and then I busted my fucking back, falling off the damn swing.
Did you remember when you like swing high
swing around it?
Yeah, like that's what I tell my kids. Like, I'm gonna loop
the full thing. Oh man, that sounds terrifying now. But we were always going for that.
Oh yeah, but when you start going up, and then you could feel like the actual swing lifting underneath you just go light. Yeah, it was like, oh shit!
It's when the chain starts to it kind of like what's slack. The word? Gets slack, and then it like bam, and you're like, yeah.
I'm too high. Go back. Dial it back.
I think I broke the plastic of one of those swings because I went so high that so much slack, and then it came down and it just, went. What is it? Is it just it tightened up and then just fucking snapped it right in half? The seat I was like, I'm at a fucking public park. I'm like, we gotta go, Mom. We gotta go. This bomb goes off, wipes everything out. Boom. Turns to skeletons, and it shows the future 2029 in LA, where we get a better scene from the first one. So we get the same scene from the first one where you got the tank Terminator, you got the flying. I'm guessing those are the hunter killers. I wasn't sure the last time. I'm still not sure now.
I looked it up. They're both. There's tank hunter killers and there's aerial hunter killers.
And so you got the soldiers
from now.
7
Yeah.
years from now, it's
7
going to happen.
years.
So carry
Don't
on.
worry, it's going to happen even earlier. The rate this country's going. We're seeing all this shit going on, and it's better shot, of course, than it was in the original. You know, the way that the hunter killers look are really good. The flying ones look a lot more smooth in the air. They don't look like some dude's holding a plastic toy, just kind of.
Got it, the bat. Yeah, there you go.
The bat from Day of the Dead is my favorite.
We got it.
Oh my goodness. It's wartime. We see the soldiers running across. They're doing a bunch of stuff. We get to see the T-800s without the human skin. It's just the exoskeleton, which is really cool. And they were all workable animatronics. So they were actually like pretty much robots.
I like how it comes in, how it steps on that human head, that skull.
On the skull. Yep.
And it just pans up. Yeah.
Really cool. I love the way the T-800s look, the exoskeletons. Such a badass robot. And this is where you also get Sarah doing voiceover, which I hate. Yep. Like, this made sense because she's doing a voiceover of the future. She's talking about John and all that stuff. And goddamn, John Connor. I don't like this. I don't like the way this guy looks because he looks nothing. There's no way Edward Furlong is grown up to look like this guy. He's got the deep scars, and he's just like, he looked like the jock in school who was just like beating up the nerds, which isn't cool, but he's not Edward Furlong. It's not. I know what Edward Furlong looks like now. He's like a 40-something-year-old man. He doesn't look like that. Oh my goodness. So yeah, voiceover, it's fine in the beginning of a movie to kind of set stuff up, but when you have it throughout a movie, I can't stand it. And they did it in this movie, and that was one of the two things I disliked about this movie, was the constant Sarah voiceover kind of commentating what's going on, and then Edward Furlong just not being great.
Well, I figured you only need to set so much up. Like, you're like, okay, here's our narration setting up of the movie, and I don't think you need any more narration.
No,
I thought the movie would have been fine without it.
It's just very unnecessary.
He didn't do much.
So during the voiceover, Sarah states that there were two Terminators sent to kill John. One was before his birth, which is the one from the original Terminator, and then one when he was a kid, which is the T-1000 from this film. But a protector was sent, which you kind of don't really know fully what that means. I mean, if you've seen the movie, you know what it means, but if you're going into this for the first time, you don't really know exactly what that means. Was it somebody else like Kyle Reese, or what we get in this movie? We get a great title card and the opening credits with the badass Brad Friedel theme song just thumping in my ear.
I want a vocal cover of this. I want it all a cappella.
Oh my God.
It's just Halo. Wait, what?
Oh, yeah, listen. And there's fire everywhere during the credits, and I'm just like, oh my God, give it to me. We get a truck station. It's today, so 1991, I guess. Or no, it would. So the first one takes place in 1984, which is the year the movie came out. This one takes place in 1994 because it's 10 years later. So we're at a truck stop. You get the lighting show like we did in the original, but we get a different type of entrance. So instead of them just being there, they come in like an orb.
Yeah.
And anything that's around just gets cut away. So the part of the back of the truck is really cool. It's like gone from the orb, and the ground has got the indentation from the orb. And we get to see Arnold, but no Arnold dick in this one. We don't even get to see Arnold ass. We just see Arnold. And he walks over to, and immediately once you see Arnold, you know he's a Terminator. Or he's a cyborg, so they immediately show his Terminator vision, which is the red with all the text. It looks like what was that shitty Nintendo where everything's fucking red.
Virtual Boy.
Oh my God, it was the worst. I had one. It was terrible. That's what it looks. That's Terminator vision. It's terrible. So yeah, he walks into a bar, and he needs to get some clothes. And all the bikers in there are just like, yeah, okay, buddy. You're funny. What are you doing? I love his entrance though, where all the people, like, you got everybody's like reacting to a naked guy walking into the bar, and you get the one woman who's bringing out the food, and she sees him. She's like, ooh.
Well, I mean,
she's like licking her chops. I was like, whoa.
He's a stacked naked.
Oh, I mean,
man. He just comes
I would have been sitting there like, oh, we gotta leave, honey, because I can't compete with that. Oh shit. So yeah, he beats the fuck out of these guys.
Oh god.
Man, he completely destroys every single one of them, to the point where the one guy, because he asked for his clothes and he asked for his motorcycle, and the guy just laughs in his face. Well, by the time it's all over, the guy's like throwing him his keys.
Oh yeah, like he asked nicely.
Yeah, he determined that this guy had the right size clothes.
Yeah,
which I liked. It made sense. He wasn't just going to take anybody's clothes. He had to find the guy who he could fit into. Thought that was really cool. So yeah, he takes the clothes, and I like how he's about to leave. He starts the motorcycle. He's about to leave, and the barkeeper, no, the barkeep,
yeah,
whatever. He comes out and he's just like, "Hey, buddy," with a shotgun. Like, he just like this bartender just watched this dude just destroy like 6 men, pretty big dudes.
Yeah,
and he comes out with a shotgun. Like, that's gonna do something.
Yeah, like Millie's got a dope ass shotgun.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
It's lever action shotgun. It's fucking sweet. Anything lever action is sweet as fuck. So anything.
Yeah. So he comes out and he threatens him, and he's just like, you need to get off, or I'm gonna shoot you. And Arnold just comes up and just snatches it right out of his hand, and then sees he's got cool sunglasses in his pocket, and he takes them out, and he's like, and puts them on. And you're just like, look, yeah, let's go, baby.
Dope. Yeah.
And he goes. So we get another light show, which happens in another part of town, and a cop sees it all happening, so he goes in to investigate, and then he gets jumped by whatever it was, and he gets his clothes and the car taken, and you find out that this is the bad Terminator, because he's looking for John Connor. So I'm guessing, this is a liquid metal Terminator, right? So is this like his natural form, being Robert Patrick? Or did he steal somebody's identity? Because he didn't look like the cop that he jacked from.
Maybe he might have like a default look programmed.
That's
why he always goes back to it. That's the only thing I can think of, because he can imitate anybody.
Right.
And he's just like, bloop.
It makes a lot of sense.
It may just have a programming and just like
except for his clothes.
Return to this.
They always.
Well, the clothing he might like, okay.
Too.
Well, it's kind of a smart play. Like, all will be law enforcement.
Yeah.
Because you could probably get away with a lot more as law enforcement.
But they just magically fix themselves too.
It's the clothes?
Yeah.
Well, the clothes are all metal too.
Well, I think once he doesn't physically take the clothes. I think it's more of he just because Arnold states all he has to do is like touch what he can change into. So he probably just touched the cop and he got the clothes.
Touch.
The cop is probably still there, unconscious, with all of his uniform still there.
They probably killed him.
Probably. So we then meet John Connor and his really good friend, by the way. Like, this friend is like, if you want to find a good friend, this is the type of friend you need to find, because this dude covers for you, does all cool.
No
like,
shit.
He's a good fucking friend. John's a little shitbag.
Yeah, he is.
He sucks. So he's not a fan of his foster parents. He's in the foster care because his mom's crazy and she's off in a mental institution. And yeah, his foster parents are trying, like, the foster mother is kind of like, she's trying to care, but he's such a piece of shit that she's just like, I'm trying. I don't know what to do. Can you help me? And the foster dad's like, fine. So he goes outside. He's like, John, come back inside. Listen to your mother. And he's just turning. He's like, you're not my parents. And then he drives away.
Yeah, and he's just like,
you're not my dad, Todd.
He just goes and sits
Who's
down.
going to respect you? Your name's Todd. And then he drives away.
Right?
Sorry to anybody who's named Todd out there.
So his friend, I was like, he looks familiar. Me and him both. You're probably too young to remember a show called Salute Your Shorts.
Yeah, I don't know what that
It was
is.
on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
I was like,
It was a
"That's
camp show.
him!"
He's from Salute. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're rocking some Guns N' Roses, and I was like, yeah, baby, I love this song.
Oh, I was like, oh god,
it's a great song, but it's the only one they play.
I'm not a GNR person, so
90s, late 80s, early 90s GNR was my jam. I loved it. And
it's
then
fair
they just
point.
got
A lot
terrible.
of people
Slash left and GNR turned to shit.
Fair point.
We then meet Sarah Connor, once again played by the wonderful Linda Hamilton. And she's ripped. Her arms are fucking huge. They're bigger than mine, which is not saying much. I don't have big arms, but she's ripped. She's ready to kick some ass.
Right,
she's doing
Brett.
She's doing fucking curls.
Sorry, Parker. Her dick's probably bigger than both ours too. So
probably. Jesus. And we get to see Dr. Silberman again, the fucking stupid psychiatrist from the first movie, and he's just worse than this one.
I was gonna say he seems like more of an asshole.
God. He comes up, he's giving a tour to, I guess, future doctors or future people that are working there or whatever, and he's talking about her. And the funny thing is like, did he not hear about anything that happened? I mean, he must have, because he shows the pictures and video of the T-800 from the first one going through the police station and murking everybody. But he's still like, yeah, she believes a cyborg was sent back to kill her, blah, blah, blah. And I love it when she comes up to the window. She's like, hey, Dr. Silverman, how's the knee? And he's like, great. Yeah, she stabbed me a couple weeks ago with my own pen.
Yep.
Well, he did say in the original movie he was gung-ho about making a career at off of Kyle
Reese. Yeah.
And that's all he gives a fuck about is his career. That's it.
He sucks.
He is a piece of shit.
So we see that the Terminator that showed up, the one who stole the cops' clothes and all that stuff, he is going around trying to find John, and he shows up at the foster parents' house asking about him. And you know, the first thing is like, because he gets in trouble a lot, so they're like, what did he do now? And he's like, I'm just, you know, we're concerned, you know, I just want to talk to him and all that stuff. And Robert Patrick's performance is so good in this movie, where he can go from very stern, no emotion, being the Terminator he's supposed to be, to having to be human.
Yeah.
Like when he's talking to them, you know, he's showing some emotion. He shows the picture and blah, blah, blah. Or no, he gets the picture from the foster parents and all that stuff. And he's just like, I'm just, you know, we're concerned. I just want to talk to him, blah, blah, blah. And then he leaves.
Yeah.
He also finds out that another person had showed up, some big dude on a bike, and they're like, Arnold was there first.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in for something. We then see that John is like a hacker. He's like hacking into an ATM in broad daylight with his friend, and his friend is like generally concerned. I would have been that friend, like, dude, I don't really like, this is kind of sketch, man. Like, I don't know if I want to be a part of this. Right. But once the money comes out, he's just like, all right, let's do this. Let's go spend a lot of money. All right, sure, let's go. And the friend asks about Sarah to John, and John's just like, she's a complete wacko. I fucking hate dialogue in the 90s, man. It's just like, yeah, you know, we were together for a while. We traveled from here, there, and everywhere, but she's kind of a psycho now. And you're like, you were with her for that long, and you're just like, because he tells her that she broke into some facility and she got arrested and got sent to a hospital or whatever, and she's a total loser.
Well, so, just in 20 years, I can hear my kids talking about how they're going to hate how people talked at this point in time.
I think it's just like, just hearing Edward Furlong's dialogue in this movie, I'm just like, oh God, it's terrible.
Yeah, no, it's bad.
So the funny thing about this was that, and you can tell in a lot of scenes, so Edward Furlong was going through the change during filming of this movie.
Yeah.
And they had to ADR a lot of his dialogue, because there was some times where they would be filming and he would do his dialogue and he had a lot deeper voice than, you know, well, that scene, he sounded like he was 10 years old. This scene, he sounds like he's, you know, a lot older. So they had to bring Edward back, and they had to do ADR, and then they had to adjust it so he sounded younger and all that stuff. So there was a lot of just weird scenes where you can tell it's ADR instead of him actually talking.
Victor said something about that. I didn't really actually notice it all that much, but it makes sense now that you mention it.
Yeah, it's weird. But I guess, I mean, it's necessary if you want to be consistent throughout an entire movie. You don't want him to be sounding, two different ways. Like, he sounds good. He sounds like this here, and then the middle here, and then he sounds back to the like. Yeah, it just sounds weird. I understand. We go back to the psychiatric hospital where Sarah is watching a video of herself being interviewed by Dr. Silberman. She's talking about Judgment Day, and she's going crazy. And when they pan back out to, her after she watches it, she looks to him and is like, I feel a lot better now. So, we promised after 6 months, if I feel better, I can call John. And he's like, nah, we're not going to let you do that. And she's just like, you fucking piece of shit. And she attacks him. And I was like, I would have done the same thing. This dude sucks. So we then cut over to Cyberdyne, which is pre-Skynet. This is like the origin of everything in this franchise. And we meet Dyson.
Vacuums.
What the hell is this first name?
Miles
Dyson, who is played by Joe Morton, who actually was in Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Mm-hmm.
And he was also in Justice League, both versions of the Justice League. He played Cyborg's dad.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in Eureka as well, because I remember you watching that. He was in Speed.
The Keanu Reeves? Speed?
Yeah. Yeah, 94.
All right. Oh, yeah, he probably played one of the cops.
Probably.
So he's got pieces of the 1984 T-800 in his possession. He's got one of the arms, and he has the chip that was inside the head. And you're like, oh, that's not gonna be good for anybody. Sarah is told she can't contact John. Of course, we saw this, and she gets very angry. She jumps over the desk. She attacks the doctor, and she gets sedated and all that stuff. And it's she gets brought back to her room. And this is where the dude is like, no, I don't think that's what happens yet, because I have that in my notes.
Not yet.
Yeah. So the cop and the T-800 both locate John. So I put cop in quotations because that's the T-1000. And he's at the arcade, which I'm like, yeah, I miss arcades. I watched this and I went, I miss arcades.
Arcades
so
are
much.
Dope as fuck, dude. What happened?
Oh, it's so sad. John's friend, he lies about knowing him. I love when the T-1000 walks up to him, shows him a picture. Do you know this kid? And he's just like, nope, don't know who that is. And walks and immediately runs over to John. He's like, we got to get the fuck out of here. There's a cop over there looking for you. And he's like, what? All right, let's go.
Like, very quickly. Like, the kid was like super like nonchalant about it. It's like, nah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Clearly this has happened before.
Yeah. So they run.
Well, I mean,
John runs on his own.
ATM. I mean,
yeah, that's right. I mean, this is how good of a friend this kid is. He literally steps in front of him to be like, hey, what are you doing? Like, I told you I don't know him. And he like pushes him over. And he runs away from John, or he runs away from the T-1000. And he comes around the corner. He's like in the back hallway of the mall or wherever this is. And he runs into this poor guy who's just like, hey, you're not supposed to be back here. And he's like, just keeps running. And then he comes around the corner and he runs into Arnold. And he's just like, hearing all the stories from his mom. He's like, oh, shit. And turns around and tries to run into another room. It doesn't work out. And the T-1000 and Arnold, they both meet in the hallway. And this poor fucker is just standing in the middle of the hallway along with John. And he tells the kid to get down. Or he tells John to get down, and they start firing. And the poor dude gets caught in the crossfire and just gets blown away.
Yeah, I like the because he's got like that box of roses.
Yeah,
and he like opens them up. He's got that.
So cool.
It's a Winchester 1887, and he's like, and I hate. Okay, I got a bitch about something. The way the fucking handguns sounded, they were all like Beretta 92s, but they sounded like pew 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 pew. I hated the way it fucking sounded in this movie.
The sound of the shotgun was cannons. was 2 cannons
fine.
being shot off.
That's fine.
So
I'm fine
aggressive.
with it. But like the handgun just sounded like shit. Like I was like, what? Okay.
You're like, what the fuck?
I was like, confused.
So we find out that this is a liquid Terminator because he gets shot and he gets like the spray marks all over him, and then he like absorbs back into his body, and he fights with Arnold. And during shooting, when they're doing the fight scene, Arnold was like, "Oh, clearly my character can easily throw this one around," and James Cameron's like, "No, he's stronger than you. Like he is a more advanced Terminator, so he is gonna have." Even though you're bigger than him, he's stronger than you. So he's going to throw you around. So Robert Patrick said it was so weird to take Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is just a massive man compared to him at that time, and just throw him around the way he was throwing him around.
Schwarzenegger is the meat mountain.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger got a lot of fucking things for this movie. His salary was $15 million, which is a lot of money in 1991. And he was given a goddamn jet to sign on to this movie.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds like a good deal to me. You should have signed on for like, I want a certain percentage of the royalties.
I feel like that's probably kind of what happened with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like his downfall when it came to acting was that he probably demanded a lot of money for his roles.
Probably.
And then, of course, he did Batman and Robin, and people were like, we shouldn't. I don't think this is a good idea to cast him anymore.
Yeah, he kind of oversold himself, if you will, before he 100%. Was.
So after the fight, he gets kind of thrown to the side. The T-1000 chases him. And this scene is great where he hops on his dirt bike and he's driving away, and the T-1000 is hustling.
Oh,
and
God,
he gets really close. Robert Patrick literally did like sprinting, like regimens to get himself like in shape and be able to run really fast when he sprints. And he actually got to the point where he was almost able to catch up to the dirt bike, like on his own, without them having to slow down, because he got so fast.
He's a fucking machine.
Oh, so good.
Literally, he's a machine. Bunches of them.
So after he realizes he can't catch up to John on foot, he steals a semi and gives chase in the truck. And it's, oh man, another great scene where John drives down into the river or whatever it is, and he stops because he's like, there's no way he's getting down here. And he just drives the truck right off the bridge.
Yes.
And it just smashes, and then he's just like full throttle going, chasing him, and he's like, oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that. Arnold's back on his bike, and he sees what's going on, and he gives pursuit. He's shooting the T-1000 from like a higher elevation with the cool shotgun. He's shooting them and stuff.
Trivia for that: they actually had to customize the lever loop, make it larger because his sausage fingers were too big for allowed him to do the spin. Yeah, the standard one was way too small.
So Arnold gets the bike down into the river, and he gets around the truck, and he does the coolest fucking save I've ever seen in my life, where he literally just grabs John, throws him in the front of the bike, and just keeps going without even slowing down.
Yeah,
just wink, wink, and then the dirt bike gets run over. So Arnold, like during the scene, because he had to have, so Edward Furlong is sitting in front of him, and he has to continue to turn and shoot at the truck behind him. There was one time he smoked Edward Furlong in the face when he's trying to do one of the shooting scenes. Oh my God. Like Edward Furlong, like literally got his ass beat by Arnold on accident during this entire sequence. Oh my goodness.
Chalk that one up to one of life's experiences.
Yeah, right. So Arnold incapacitates the truck. He shoots the tire out. The truck blasts into another part of the bridge. And then, of course, we get the cool sequence where the battery kind of ignites the truck.
Yeah.
And it blows up. And you're like, yeah, win. But it's way too early to be a win, because they drive away And then you get the really cool scene of the T-1000 coming out, walking out in his liquid form, and then forming back into Robert Patrick's top look. And I was like, that is such a cool scene. So cool. That explosion was badass too.
Very good explosion.
Mhm.
Lots of cool practical, baby.
So this is when we get the breakdown with Arnold as he explains what he is and, why he was sent back to protect John instead of kill him, that he was a Terminator that was reprogrammed to be more of a protector than a Terminator. And he's the T1, he's a 101 model, I think is what he states, or something like that.
He's supposed to be a T800.
He is a T800, but for some reason, I swear he said, I'm the 101 model. And I was like,
could have been.
I might have misheard, but I swear that's what he said. But I know he's a T800. And he explains to John that he's there to protect him. And we get this is deep. I'm like, that's such a 90s thing to say. Or 80s thing to say. John wants to warn his foster parents about everything that's going on, but it's a little too late because Arnold calls the house and he knows that it's not the foster mother because he asks about the dog. It's like, what's your dog's name? Can't remember what the dog's name was. But he tells him what the real dog's name is, but then he makes up the name and she's like, oh, it's fine. Oh, and
Wolfie.
she fucking kills
How's
the dad,
Wolfie?
dude, in the coolest way. Off screen, you just see like shoots the thing off screen. You know the dad's dead. And she's continuing to talk on the phone. And then she hangs up the phone and it just pans to the dad and he's pinned through the mouth, through the cereal box, through the mouth, into the cabinet behind. And I love when he takes it out and he looks at it like, oh shit. Like it's the first time he's ever done that. So it's like, okay. I see.
Yeah. Like that was the scene that checked me out of the movie when I was little and watched it. I was like, nah, I'm good. I remember
like,
that was like the again, I told you everybody.
Okay, sorry. Going back to the thing I was talking about. So Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator, he's a reprogrammed model 101 Series 800. So that is the complete, I guess, model for him.
Okay,
model 101. So I guess the original one was a model 100, 800 model or T800 or whatever.
So it's a slightly improved version of the T800 from the last film. Okay. But yeah, when I was little, I mentioned my cowardice and what of films and whatnot. But that was the scene because I remember how he died, and I was like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah,
I checked out after that.
Yeah, that was a brutal one.
It was good. It was done well.
So the Terminator explains exactly what the T-1000 can and cannot do. So he can, he can only turn into living like matter. Like he can only become living like a person or whatever. But yet he turns into a floor, which was weird.
Well,
he
says simple. It's got to be something simple.
Yeah.
So it can't be like a complex machine. You can't turn into a complex machine.
Something that's not moving parts.
Yeah. So relatively, you think like, well, that would make sense because humans are complex. Well, not necessarily because he just takes the outside form of a human.
Yeah.
Which can be relatively simple. Inside. Yeah. And like a floor, it's just, he's just spreading himself out flat over a massive surface and changing the way it looks.
Okay.
That's literally all he did.
That makes more sense. So the police interrogate Sarah about the Terminator, and she gives them nothing because they pretty much are like, so the Terminator that killed a bunch of cops 10 years ago, the same looking one, or this guy that looks like him just was in the mall. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. This is kind of weird.
Like she's like zoned, like she's drugged the fuck out.
Drugged out of her mind. And so, yeah, and then it goes back to John and the Terminator. They're having more of a conversation. He states that he wants to save his mom, and the Terminator's like, it's not part of the mission. And he's like, well, it's part of my mission. And then he finds out that he can control the Terminator. He can give it orders. So he pretty much, anytime he says something, the Terminator has to do it. And I love how he screams and yells for help. Those two buff dudes come over, and then they get their ass beat for trying to be nice. Yeah, it's like, you were just asking for help. I'm so confused.
But they
Poor
did.
Guys.
It's because John calls him something.
Yeah, and admittedly, it is
yeah.
kind of the kids, and
'Cause
not
he's
even.
like, go away. I forget what he says.
Go away,
And
fuckwad, or something like that. I
yeah,
don't know,
then
something similar to that.
he's like, oh really?
Yeah.
And that's when it all starts.
So the whole thing's his fault,
Yeah.
ultimately. Even though he was screaming, trying to get away, it's just how he played it off afterwards
Yeah.
because he's a piece of shit kid. So,
Yeah. So he then tells him, he then orders him that he's going to go, we're going to go save my mom. And he's like, okay, sure.
He's like, how do you know he's going to go after mom? He's like, because that's what I would do.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was the whole thing originally why he didn't want to do it, is because the other one's going to know. That's going to be the first thing that it's expecting you to do. Like, well,
Any
then we
close
just gonna
family
have to go.
ties, that's the way. That's the place to go. So,
So the T-1000 is at the institution. And this is when the orderly is bringing Sarah into her room and he licks her. I was like, what the fuck, man?
Oh,
I thought more was going to happen, and I'm glad it didn't, because he just
Ugh.
licks her and then walks out. And I was like, what the fuck?
yeah, I didn't like him.
Sarah, but you find out Sarah was never sedated. She wakes up, she gets herself out of restraints, and this is right as the T-1000 arrives.
Yeah.
The T-1000 hides in the floor, and he turns into the guard. Now, cool thing is these guys are twins. This was actually a guy and his twin brother. They were actually in Gremlins 2. They played twins. I just thought it was really cool because they're not the only twins in this movie.
No, they're
as
not.
we'll know later on. But I thought it was really cool. The one gets killed, and the other one drags him into the closet. And I love that Sarah gets the comeuppance on that stupid dude who licked her. She beats the shit out of him and then takes his keys.
Firearms manufacturers.
The T-1000. Oh, sorry. Sarah catches up with Dr. Silberman, and she fucks him up.
Oh, thankfully. I was like, yes.
And she takes like this cleaning solution and fills a syringe up with it, and then like walks around with him, threatening that she's going to kill him if she doesn't, they don't help her get out.
Fucking pipe cleaner.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
that would fuck you up, dude.
Yeah. So the Terminator and John make their way to the institution. John makes the Terminator promise that he won't kill. And he shoots the dudes below in the knees, and he's like, he'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll live. Is what he said.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that
bit. Sarah makes her way through the hospital with Silberman, and everything kind of goes sideways, so she just runs. And, well, the next sight she sees as she runs away is not a sight that she wanted to. As she notices that the elevator door is opening, and what comes out but Arnold Schwarzenegger. And she's like,
it's a great
not
scene.
Again!
Da, 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 da.
Yeah, oh, so good. And but John runs up to her and explains to her, like, he's here, he's good, he's here to help, blah, blah, blah. And then that's when he reaches down and goes, come with me if you want to live.
Mom, he's just here to deliver the pizza.
The T-1000 makes his entrance. This is where you get the really cool bar scene where he liquefies through the bars, which is really fucking cool.
And it kind of shows fucking dickhead, the psychiatrist, dude.
Silberman.
Silberman, yeah, what the hell's going on? Because he sees it.
Sucks.
He does suck.
But it's funny because he can't get the gun through.
Yeah, he's like,
and
he just turns it and takes it.
Jesus. A shootout ensues between them.
Get
both.
off my lawn, damn it!
So Sarah, John, and the T-800, they go into the elevator, and there's the big shootout. So Linda Hamilton actually got permanent hearing loss from this scene because she forgot to change out her earplugs in between shots. So that sucks.
I could only imagine, dude.
That's why she said yes to marrying James Cameron, because she couldn't barely hear him. She's like, yes. And he's like, well, you said yes.
It has to be.
Huh?
When we were younger, right? When I was much younger, I went to go out shooting with my buddy back in the day. And I've shot like full power 303 British and stuff like that, like with no earplugs. Your fucking ears would just ring. for
Yeah.
hours. This is outdoors. I can imagine what that would do to you inside.
Fuck that.
In an enclosed space like that.
Oh God, it's a good scene though in the elevator with all the
Oh,
stabbies
so
and
cool.
the shooties.
Well, this was cool because the T-1000, he comes as the door's shut and he's able to pry them open. He turns his hands into the blades, which then have the little nubs on it, and he just.
Yeah, I like that. It's cool.
And then he gets the shotgun blast to the face, and you just see the fucking. It's like it's like something out of the Thing. Yeah. So supposedly all of that is James Cameron. All the weird like screamy sounds that the T-1000 makes when it's like in that weird liquid form, where it's like blasting. His head is like hanging out the side. He's like,
really? That's interesting.
Yeah. He looks like a creature from The Thing. I mean,
I was gonna say
it is Stan Winston. So, well, no. Rob Bottin did The Thing, but yeah, it's very similar. Very similar style.
You get more scenes like that later too. So,
and this after he kind of morphs back into himself, they escape. The T-1000 gives chase on foot. He is able to use his cool claws and grab to the back of the car, and he's hanging on and stuff, and then he gets shot off, and a piece of it is still on the car as he falls off, and John throws it.
Dad, go faster. I can't. It's a Geo. It's a Simpsons reference. They pay homage to that scene. It's fantastic.
And I love it that the T-1000 walks up and he puts it just kind of goes into his shoe.
Yeah, that's cool.
So everybody's getting patched up. Sarah's getting patched up. Arnold's getting patched up. They ask but John asks what his lifespan is, and he says 125 years with this battery core, which I thought was cool.
Mm-hmm.
John teaches he teaches the Terminator how to speak more human. So all the really 90s phrases or 80s phrases.
Don't have a cow, man. Cowabunga.
No, it's eat me, dick one.
Eat me, I know. I'm just talking.
Yeah.
Because people said that.
No problemo.
Yeah, no problemo. Yep.
Was it? What's the hasta la vista, baby?
Mm-hmm.
John. So yeah, they stop off for some snacks, and John asks if humans will survive. And pretty much Terminator's like, it doesn't look so good.
He's like in Magic 8 Ball and says outcome is not looking good.
Yeah. He's like, in this current situation, no. So on the drive, the Terminator tells the exact details of Judgment Day and who is behind it. So they tell you about August 27th, 1997 or August 29th, 1997?
Yeah, something like
Judgment
that.
Day happens. So in this timeline, it'd be like 3 years. And so Miles Dyson is the one who is behind it all. Like he starts everything and then it kind of just gets out of hand. And, they were going to switch on Skynet to have the machines kind of take control of like certain things. But then they kind of were like, yeah, maybe this isn't a great idea. But before they could like turn back, the machines turned on themselves.
Well, I think they said, what was it? It was Skynet was turned on like early August. What was it, like 17 days or like 21 days for it to gain sentience, or 22 days or something like that?
Yeah. Something like that.
It was not very long before it gained sentience. It's like, oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So the Russians? We were like the U.S. and the Russians were aimed at each other, and Skynet was able to go in and kind of like hack in and send all the nukes off.
Well, it was they launched at Russia because they knew Russia would launch back.
Right.
Skynet knew if they attacked Russia, they would instantly just counter deploy. So they stopped to meet Enrique. He's a friend of Sarah, and I guess he helped her with things in the past, and he kind of owes her. The Terminator is now Uncle Bob. I love it. They need supplies and weapons. The Terminator loves the minigun. I love how he's just like, he even smiles. He like turns back. He's like, yeah, I'm taking this.
this thing that shouldn't be realistic to be carrying around like this.
Oh, absolutely not.
He also was like, he's like, Jesse Ventura got to use it in The Predator. I'm going to use it in this movie.
There you go. He gets his shot at it.
He gets his shot at the minigun, son of a bitch. John explains his life, and he knows about Kyle, which I thought was pretty cool, that his mom didn't keep any secrets from him. She pretty much told him who he was and that he's a man of the future. So he's like, yeah, I know he's not even born yet. And he's like, yeah, I won't meet him until I'm like 45. It's such a weird thing. I'm not going to meet my dad till I'm 45, and he's going to be like 20.
20? Yes. 20 something.
And this is when the Terminator is like fixing the vehicle, and John is crying. He's, shedding some tears in the Terminator. It's like the one of 3 times that they ask him about, why do you cry? He's like, I'm not crying, man. Like, I'm cool.
It's sweaty, dude. It's fine. It's just sweat.
It's really hot here. This is one of the, like, when I was a kid, this scene was terrifying. So this is when Sarah has her nightmare where she passes out at the table, and she has the nightmare where she walks up to the fence, and it's her and John as a kid, which is actually the kid in the scene is Linda Hamilton's actual child.
Oh.
And they're playing, and then that's when everything happens. The nukes go off, and you get the aftermath, and everybody starts to, like, their skin is boiling and skin is getting all, oh man, it's freaking ridiculous, but awesome.
That shot of Linda Hamilton on the fence.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
all of her skin blows off, and it's just the bones. That's so good. Dude. They did that so good.
Cool. So yeah, and then she wakes up and she carves something into the table. She wakes up and she sees that John is teaching the Terminator how to do high fives. Like, high five, low five, ha, you're too slow. And he's just like,
I love his high five.
It's like,
he's like, calm down, we could do it again.
And yeah, this is where she types, or she scratches in no fate. Sarah's got some badass sunglasses, by the way. Sarah ditches John and the Terminator to find Dyson. She just hops in the station wagon and just is like, peace. And she goes to Dyson's house. And John explains what her plan is, and they got to intercept. We then go to the Dyson house. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was going to say, I guess this is a logical conclusion, because the whole earlier part of the movie is like establishing and everything, and them kind of running from the T-1000, meeting up with Sarah Connor. And then, like, they mentioned that she tried to take out Cyberdyne before.
Yeah.
But, like, I guess it makes sense now. It's like, what else are you going to do? Just, like, keep running from him until you find him at the end? It's like, we have to do something. And so I guess this was, like, their go-to. So
Sarah goes to the Dyson house, and Miles is working on some stuff in his office, and he's got his wife and son he's he's got a remote control truck. He's driving around the house. It's really cool. This house is sweet, by the way. And he's in his office, and he gets shot at. And he goes, he tries to hide from it, and she freaking goes from semi-auto to full auto and just starts walking towards the house, and
mag dumps that shit.
Oh yeah, she freaking goes in berserk. She goes into the house, and she threatens to kill him, and the son gets in the way. He's like, "Don't touch my dad! Get away from my dad!" And she's just like, "Get the fuck out of here before I kill you too!" And I was like,
"Punch him!" Oh no,
yeah, no. And then she kind of stops. She just realizes this isn't the best thing to do, and she kind of collapses. And that's when John and the Terminator show up.
Not before she does. She does shoot him in the right shoulder.
Did she shoot? Did he get shot initially from the first couple shots from when she was sniping him from outside, or was it in the house? Oh no, it was in the house because he was running away, and she shoots him in the back or in the shoulder.
It was like right. It was like up in the upper right shoulder or something. Right.
Yeah. And you get a touching mother and son moment between Sarah and John, as John is just like, you know, I'm here. I'm not gonna leave you. We're gonna finish this, but we can't do it like this.
Yeah,
She's
because
like, I know, I didn't do it.
we should state earlier in the movie, like even after they rescue Sarah, like she does not give two shits about her son for most of this movie. Like she's like really like cold with him. I get why she's she wants him to be strong.
She's
Told her she
preparing them
shouldn't
for
have
the
come.
future.
Yeah, but like no fucking compassion whatsoever
No.
for him. Feel bad for the kid. So carry on.
So they sit Dyson down and they explain the whole Judgment Day and that he's pretty much responsible for it. And he's like, well, that's a lot.
He's like, well, dude, listen, first you're going to get this computer chip, and then you're going to be like, dude, I can make AI, but first I want to make these sweet-ass vacuums. Then I'm going to go back to making AI. That's your problem. Stick with the vacuums.
So what they need to do, I love how he's just like, all right, well, I'm going to quit Cyberdyne tomorrow and blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, you can't do that yet. You got to do this first and then do whatever you want.
Yeah, because somebody else will just do it. If he just quits.
Yeah.
So they need to destroy everything that's part of Skynet. Dyson's research was all based on the first Terminator's parts. So they go into... So they really need to find those pieces and they got to destroy the two original Terminator parts. And then we're good. And then they got to destroy all of like the files and research and all that shit.
Yeah.
So he goes to the lab. He takes out a guard. I think this is the same guy who plays the guard in The Office. I didn't look it up, but he looks exactly the same as God, I can't remember what his name is. But he's the guard. He's the main guard in the for the office building in The Office. It looks really similar.
I have no idea.
So they have to find a key. So Dyson has a key, and then there's a security that has a key for the vault that they have to get into to get those parts, but they have to do it simultaneously or it doesn't work. So they got to go find that second key. The other guard comes down, sees the one guard is kind of tied up, so he calls for help. John, as we saw before with the ATM, we find out he's a really good hacker. So he hacks into he's got to hack into the safe that key is in, and then Sarah and Dyson, they got to go to the vault, but they can't get in. So the Terminator blows the door off, which sets off the fire extinguisher things that they have in the ceiling, which is really realistic that they had it this way, where it was they couldn't. Dyson's like, we can't breathe that stuff in; it's toxic.
Yeah,
but yet there's a lot of movies where they have that same that shit coming down from the ceiling, and people just walk through it like nothing, and it doesn't affect them in any way. Where this movie's like, no, we need the Terminator goes, grabs some breathing apparatuses, throws it at him. It's like, all right, let's go. I
guess it's because it's future stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a high tech facility, so they got special fire retardant in there.
Yeah. The T-1000 hears over the scanners about what's going on at Cyberdyne, so he turns right around and goes back. And shit is happening at Cyberdyne. There's cops all over the place outside, and John finally gets the key. And as John was doing all this, Sarah, Dyson, and the Terminator were rigging up explosives throughout the entire office.
Yeah.
And they come in, they're like, oh, so what's going to set it off? And he's like, oh, we got this trigger here that'll do everything. They get into so they rig up the entire office. The Terminator gets to use his cool minigun. He goes out to the windows and shoots at all the cops. He gets to use his grenade launcher, which I thought was really cool. He's also getting shot, which I thought was pretty funny. This is literally just getting peppered with bullets, but it's not doing anything to him. John and Dyson get into the vault where the Terminator's arm and chip is, and they're like, here it is. This is what we needed. And then they get the hell out of there. The police are there. Everything's about to go down. Dyson, during everything, gets shot, and Sarah tries to hold down the entire place. And then the Terminator just comes out of nowhere and just poof, poof, grenade launcher everywhere, just thumping it off everything, blasting everybody. and Dyson ends it by setting off the explosions. He knows he's going to die, so he sets off the explosion, probably killing all those cops that were in there.
Well, actually, he actually does it in an interesting way. I don't believe he was trying to kill the cops that were in there, because he even says, like, I don't know how long I can hold this.
Yeah.
And they see he's dying, which I like the way he's doing his death, because he's like hyperventilating. You know, he's obviously got shot in the chest and stuff. His lungs probably collapsed and shit like that. And it doesn't go off until it ultimately expires and his body goes lax and then it goes off. So, I don't know. I mean, the whole place blew the fuck up. They're probably dead. Like, the whole place went up.
So the T-1000 returns. And we get the I'll be back line for the second time in this franchise, which we'll get for the entire franchise. He gets shot a whole lot, but doesn't kill him. And it starts to get a little bit smoky. And so they're smoking him out. And this was so that the Terminator could go outside, steal a van, comes crashing through to save John and Sarah. And then they get out.
Good scene, yeah, because he's shooting his grenade launcher. The grenade launcher the other guys had, because that was like, what, tear gas or something in there?
Yeah.
And he just walks up and starts flipping people's masks up and shit. Yep. It's great. Here, hold this.
Help me. So the T-1000, this is a really cool scene where the T-1000 jumps his bike. He like jumps a bike into a helicopter to then he hang off the helicopter. Then he just GTAs this helicopter pilot right out of there and steals his chopper.
Says the same thing Arnold said in the first movie. When he stole the semi, he's like, get out. And the guy just jumps out of the fucking helicopter.
Oh,
see you later.
So the T-1000 ends up crashing the helicopter into the truck that they were driving in. And there's the T-1000 ends up getting into a truck that's full of liquid hydrogen. And they end up getting in like this old beat up pickup truck and they're driving down this bridge and they're getting rear-ended and they're getting torn to shreds. And the Terminator ends up crashing the truck and they get out of the truck and he crashes who am I thinking of? So no. So Arnold crashes the truck and he busts out the window with the most CG roll I've ever seen in my life. That was the worst effect I've ever seen. He's just like the worst roll. Not the worst effect I've ever seen, but it's a bad effect.
Well, admittedly, when the truck falls over initially, like that's a fucking dude like holding on to the front of that truck. Yeah. And I was like, that's not a mannequin, like that's a dude. And I was like, all right, cool stunt work. Like mad props. But then the CGI potato roll.
Yeah, it was not good. So
it's just like somebody spinning a GIF in like a PNG. Woo,
oh yeah, so actually it's John driving the truck. The Terminator hops out of the back of the truck, does the weird roll, and then John crashes a truck into a fork truck. Literally one of the
killing both of them.
Just goes through the windshield and shit. Nothing happens to him though. The T-1000, so the liquid hydrogen is pouring out of the truck. T-1000 starts walking through it, but it starts to freeze him. And I thought it was really cool, the effect of him just like breaking, like as he's walking, his legs are breaking off and stuff like that. It's a really cool effect because there was two different ways they shot this. So one of them was that it was a amputee who was missing, I think, his legs and one of his arms. So like Anakin Skywalker.
God. He clearly didn't have the high ground, did he?
Oh no! What did I do? I'm so sorry. Jesus Christ!
Fucking podcast.
The funniest thing is, literally, we just released our Obi-Wan review. We talk about Anakin Skywalker.
There you go.
So Jesus Christ. So yeah, so there was two different ways. They had the amputee that they had like where the limbs would break off, which was cool.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Which they've done that in many other films with like body parts, coming off of bodies. And then they had another shot where it was Robert Patrick, like his legs were like below the floor, so they had like a hole in the ground, and he had his legs in there, so it looked like he was missing them. and stuff like that. And I love the effect of when Arnold shoots him and he just shatters. And everybody's like, high five, we won. And then the Terminator, Arnold, he looks at the heat coming from the steel oven, and he's just like, this isn't good. It's not over, because all the liquid starts to pool together. And
which is the coolest, dude. Looks fucking great.
Oh, it's a really cool effect.
We were trying to figure out if that was actual like liquid gallium. Because I imagine they wouldn't use mercury. That'd be dumb as fuck. But like, it looks fantastic.
Very cool. So the Terminator and the T-1000 fight. The Terminator gets his arm shoved into a press, and it presses it down. He has to tear his arm off. The T-1000 attacks Sarah after John ends up escaping. Like, he escapes down in like a little passage below, and she shoots him a couple times, and he just eats them all. And then he then turns back, and the T-1000 goes back to fight the other Terminator, and it doesn't go well again for him, because he gets stabbed a lot in the back or he gets beat by this giant pole, and then he gets stabbed a bunch of times until he gets stabbed through, and he, the eye goes blank, and you're like, no, he's dead. So they shot the scene where he gets decommissioned, where he gets, stabbed, and then he expires. And then the second part of that shot was like way later. They actually had to call Arnold back, and they're like, hey, we're going to shoot this scene. Can you come back? He had to shoot it on Christmas Day.
Oh.
This was kind of like one of those spur of the moment type things. Like, we need you for this thing. Like now.
I mean, it might be hot.
Yeah. So the Terminator's not dead. He can't die. At least not right now.
He reroutes power to an auxiliary power source, which I think is what he was going for, his power source to shut him off.
I said there's still life in these old steel bones.
That's right. Sarah
calls for John, but it's not Sarah. It's her twin sister.
Sarah Connor! Oh, wait, no. Sarah Harding.
It's Linda Hamilton's twin sister, Leslie Hamilton Guerin. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. But yeah, she plays the T-1000 form of Sarah because they're twins, which I thought was cool. So not one set of twins in this movie, but two.
Twins.
She almost gets them, but can't. The Terminator uses that final grenade, which is, I love his entrance where he comes over the
like a conveyor belt. It's like a conveyor belt.
It is, yeah, and just
conveyor belt.
I thought he was riding up a conveyor belt.
I thought it was just a cog. There was a giant.
It's a cog. You're right. Yeah,
you're right. Yeah. And he comes over and just shoots him once with the grenade, and that's when he's like, his body is split and his head is like dangling to the side, and it's like
yeah, it's pretty cool.
And then he gets freaking like thrown into he like stumbles back and falls into the steel, and then you get the really dramatic of it screaming and wailing, and as it's being melted down.
Starts Trent going through all of its, like, the people it replicated.
Yeah. And that's when, and then you get the final where it's the liquid face kind of melting into nothing. That was really cool. And this line was so weird, especially for this Terminator that really doesn't have many emotions. But like after, like, he's like, man, you look like shit. And he's like, I need a vacation.
Yeah, it's so random.
I was like, oh, okay.
He's like, I need to use the dialect of the time.
Yeah.
They'll understand this.
So they end up going to the side, to the steel pit, to the liquid steel pit, and they throw the arm, and they throw the chip, and then they're like, okay, it's over with. And Arnold's like, nah, I still exist, so I need to go.
One more.
And John's like, no, but we're gonna be best friends. I don't have friends anymore. Be my friend. And he's like, I gotta go, John.
Sarah's thinking to herself, we gonna do this again? Awesome.
Nah, you could tell she was kind of, she didn't want to do it. She didn't want to do it. She kind of grew an attachment to him.
Well, it almost seems like even some of the scenes you were talking about, like where earlier in the movie where they're like working under the vehicle and he's like teaching him stuff. Like he almost was treating him like a dad, like a father figure, or like an older brother. Like that's what he had.
which it kind of resonated off screen as well because Edward Furlong didn't grow up with a dad. So
Mhm.
Arnold was kind of a father figure for him during filming.
That's cool.
Linda Hamilton, I guess, was not a fan of some of the things that he would teach Edward Furlong,
Oh, really?
especially about women.
Oh, okay. Fair point.
She's like, they got along great because they're both pretty much the same age.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, thought that was pretty funny. So he has to be destroyed. So it's a very dramatic scene where he grabs onto the chain and she lowers him into the steel, and then before he fully goes down, he does the thumbs up.
The scene
And
takes
that's it?
way too long.
Yeah, that's
Oh, it's dramatic.
yeah, it is kind of a little dragged out, but it's an iconic scene. I'll take
Yeah,
it.
don't shit on it.
But
And you're
he's like,
shitting on everything else in this
he's
movie.
like, I can't. What did he say?
You can't self-terminate.
Self-terminate.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
could have just like pushed him in.
Okay.
No, they liked him.
Yeah, dude.
They wanted it to be
dramatic.
sad. It was like a funeral. You don't
Yes,
want to
let's
just push him
lower
in. It's
and
like,
watch him
we
go down
loved
for
you.
10
Get
minutes.
out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, this is my version of it without emotions. He would have just like ran up, grabbed the T-1000, like tucked the grenade, and they would have just jumped off together into the steel,
That would have been
exploded, and then fell in.
That would have been so cool.
Loaded
And that's
steel,
it.
Liquid steel everywhere.
And it would just kill everybody.
just,
It's just all done.
And that's
where
it.
he would have
That's
got the scar on his
Terminator,
face.
right? That's Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Final thoughts on this movie before we do our end of show rigmarole?
The Cyberdyne scene could have been eliminated.
It could have been streamlined, yeah. I think it could have been like, hey, dude.
I don't think it should have been eliminated because it's actually a crucial piece of
eliminated,
the movie, but
but
I understand what you're
shortened.
talking about.
Like,
Right.
I don't think it could have been like, hey, guys, like, oh, we got the thing to open it, like, cuts back to this other group, and they come, hey, guys, we got the arm and the chip. Like, just streamlined it.
Yeah, let's watch a 15-minute shootout.
Okay, don't shit on the shootout. The shootout's fun.
Yeah.
But it just keeps going.
They do the HK slap.
So Arnold Schwarzenegger. Sorry, did you have anything else you want to say? Oh,
I do. You keep going though.
I'm done.
Okay. I think this is a great movie. Again, I think it's got a lot of good gunplay. Gunplay in it, which of course I appreciate. And it's just a fun show. Again, I agree with what she said about that one scene needing to be condensed. But after this, you should go watch our Jurassic Park 3 episode. It's like I have a time to work it in. It wasn't as smooth as the other times, but this is all I had, man. But that's it.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is the only. Well, he's one of two actors to be on the, I think it's like the 100 greatest villain list and the 100 greatest hero list. And he is the only actor to do it with playing the same character, even though he's technically not the same character, but he's the same. He is the same character. Him and Al Pacino are the only actors to be on both lists. But Al Pacino, of course, played two different characters. Thought that was a little cool little touch. And it's the only Terminator movie to win an Oscar. It won 4 in 91.
Probably
really? Special effects, stuff like that. A lot of visual stuff.
Hopefully.
Not soundtrack, because there's like 2 songs.
Linda Hamilton was actually nominated for Best Supporting Actress.
Good.
Along with Sigourney Weaver in that same year, but they both lost. And we all know who won Best Picture that year was Silence of the Lambs. But yeah, that is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So we are doing something a little bit different going into next week. We're not going to be going straight into Terminator 3 as you might expect. We're gonna skip a week for that because we have a special show coming up.
Prepare.
We have some amazing guests coming on the show for next week's episode. We have the amazing guys from Movie Dumpster, Joe Lascola and Sean O'Rourke, joining us to talk the 1997 creature feature Anaconda, baby. I've been so excited to not just talk about this movie, because this movie is one of my favorites from my childhood,
So
but also to have a very influential podcast or a couple guys from a very influential podcast that I listen to a lot, and they are just great guys, and I've been, very excited to have people of that caliber on the show, because we still feel so small, and to have people like them wanting to come on our show, it warms my heart. So I'm very excited to have those two amazing gentlemen come onto the show to talk about Anaconda, because goddamn, I can't wait to listen to Joe do some great John Voight impressions.
Fuck. What? I'm excited.
So I'm very excited for that. And then we will be, once we do the Anaconda episode, then we'll be back on the Terminator grind, talking about, we'll be jumping back into Terminator with Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, and so on. But I kind of, we'll talk about it, but we might do something a little bit different. So we're not, when we do franchises, we're not going from the first to the last, like all in like one shot. We might do, like, especially since we did Terminator 1 and 2, and now we're taking a break from it, and then we're going to jump back in. We might do something kind of similar after we do the next two Terminators, just so we're not doing Terminator, for 6 weeks straight.
I think that's
a little
probably
bit of
best.
a break. It's nice to put something different in between every so often.
Well, not even for us, but for our audience too. They probably like to break up the monotony. Like, all right, dude, it's great talking about Batman for 47 episodes.
And the Batman one was really the kind of the reason why I was thinking about doing that, just because I was like, damn, that was Batman for like 9 weeks straight.
It's a grind.
A lot of Batman.
That's a lot. Woo! Like, it was nice with the Jurassic Park franchise. We did Jurassic Park 1 through 3, and then we did all of October. We did our scary movie stuff, and then we came back to Fallen King or World in Fallen Kingdom, and it was like, that actually felt good. I like that. So that's probably what we're gonna end up doing at some point. Probably for this franchise. But
Tricycle plots?
No, I lost it.
Hey, I tried to make a Jurassic Park 2 reference, and you fucked it up for me, Parker.
I did? What?
I was just fucking around. We were both in the mill, and you said, "Here comes, two Sarah Connors." And I was like, Sarah Harding. How many Sarahs do you think are in the still mill? But anyway, sorry. That's a common, that's a joke between me and my buddy, because we love that movie. We always make that reference.
Lost World is a gem.
It is, just like this movie.
Yes, it's a great one. Very excited. But I am so fucking excited for this week's podcast.
I am too.
Podcast, because I don't just love Anaconda, but the fact that I get to sit down and talk to these two guys, which I've never actually had a conversation like face to face with them, so it's going to be great to, because I listen to them all the time, and it's just going to be weird, but also amazing to actually have them on the show.
I'll be 100% honest. I've never listened to them. I don't recommend it at all.
I recommend it highly, because they cover a lot of very obscure horror movies that I've never even heard of, and it's great. They just covered Stepfather 2.
Are you serious?
A sequel I didn't even know existed.
Well, I'm just gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna warn you all. At some point during this video review, I am going to make a Baby Got Back reference.
I was just singing it when he said
it's gonna happen. One of us is gonna do it. Not gonna sing the song, but it's gonna have a reference.
What, during the Anaconda review?
Yeah.
My anaconda don't
want
none unless you got buns, huh?
That's why he goes after J-Lo.
Mine's just gonna be
She's known for her butt, is she not?
Hey, you baby bird. John Voight always calling everybody baby bird. All right, before we get into too much of a tangent on this, thank you everybody for listening to the show. Make sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, anywhere that you can. Also, if you want to watch us, you want to see our lovely faces as we talk about what we're talking about, go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/dissectthatfilm. Hit the little like button and leave us a comment, and make sure to subscribe to the YouTube, because it's free. It doesn't cost you anything.
Nope.
And make sure to follow us on all of our social medias. Dissect That Film on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Yes, we made a TikTok recently, so you should go check it out. And I think that's it. And make sure to follow DNA Gaming on all their socials, and me on all my socials. Those will all be down in the description, so we don't have to, go off and say all that stuff. you'll be.
Oh, I've got one more thing.
Just kidding. Go ahead.
No, you finish. I got one more
No,
thing.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Robert Patrick did a voice of a character called Dr. Leader Greenbox on SWAT Cats. Did anybody grow up watching SWAT Cats? Nobody grew up watching SWAT Cats, the fucking Radical Squad? You guys fucking suck. I mean, just
no idea what that is.
You suck. Anybody who grew up watching fucking SWAT Cats, that shit's awesome as hell. He did a voice of a character on this shit.
You just told me I sucked.
No, I said not you. I said not you. Oh, I said
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Until next time, I am Brett Parker. That is DNA Gaming. We are Dissect That Film. And this has been the Dissect That Film podcast, episode 60. We'll see y'all again next time. Bye-bye.
Deuces.